Hi, this is Barry Phillips again with 10-Minute Torah, continuing in the Torah portion, Noach. And as is usual my practice, I like to go back to the beginning as much as I can. One more time. Tomorrow I'll probably not do this, but again today, I'd like to go back to chapter number 5 about the beginning of the information about Noach and mention this to you. It says in verse 25, "And Methuselah lived 187 years and brought forth Lamech. And after he had brought forth Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died." Then it says, "And Lamech lived 182 years and brought forth a son, called his name Noach." Adding the age of Methuselah when Lamech was born and the age of Lamech when Noach was born equals 369 years for Methuselah. In other words, Methuselah was 369 years old when his grandson Noach was born. Why is that significant? Well, if you go over to chapter number 6, it says in, actually chapter number 7, verse 6, "Now Noach was 600 years old when the floodwaters were on the earth. When Noach completed the ark and went into the ark, he, his family, and all the animal kingdom that was to be saved, he was 600 years old." 600, and adding to that the 369 years that Methuselah was when Noach was born, 969 years. In other words, Methuselah was 969 years old when the flood came. That's the last year that he lived. What I'm saying is something that the rabbis have noted, and they push it to the place that the reason that Noach and his family were put into the ark a week early was that they were sitting Shiva for Methuselah, who had died. Now, it's very likely that the Jewish custom of sitting Shiva with the mourning of someone came later and was not original. I wasn't there. I'm not going to argue that point. However, the year that the flood came is the same year that Methuselah died. I find that interesting, but I also find it important. And I find it important for this reason. Going back to chapter number 6 and reading verse number 9. This is the genealogy of Noach. Noach was a righteous man, perfect in his generations. Noach, he walked with Elohim. A couple things are very interesting in this verse for us. Number one is that the last part of this verse says that Noach walked with Elohim. One moment. I've got a tickle in my throat. Now, hopefully I can get through this. Noach walked with Elohim. That is, he had his halakha, his halakhic decisions were with Elohim. What does the word halakha mean? It means one's walk, one's going, one's manner of going, their manner of living, what one follows, their perspective, their lifestyle, their normal means of activity as they go. Noach did not go with the route of the culture around him that was debased, debauched, and destined for doom. He followed with the culture of Yahweh. Now, as we read the story as it begins in chapter number 6, one might get the idea that he was the only righteous man on the earth. But for at least 600 years, Noach had, for a period of time, the righteous influence of his father Lamech, but also of his grandfather Methuselah. So he had righteous company to teach him whatever the understanding of Yah was at that time, whatever revelations that they had. And I think it would be a lot more involved in that revelation than what you and I might perceive. The oral traditions that were given down, Adam was alive for a period of that time. And the things that he had seen, the moments that he had had to walk with the very creator of the universe, the voice of Elohim moving in the garden, what Gan Eden or the Garden of Eden was actually like. All of these things had orally been transmitted and passed down. Noach was a beneficiary of that. So he, being a righteous man, being found righteous in his generation, was not something that he achieved by himself, but it was something that was taught to him and that he chose to hold on to. Now, there's another clue about this man that is revealed here, and what is translated in English is also true in the Hebrew text. It mentions the name of Noach 3 times in this verse, but in the beginning of, or the end of the first line and the beginning of the second line, Noach's name is written in succession. Noach, Noach. Now, in our English versions, we put a period there. But the name Noach is written Noach, Noach. What we understand as a principle is that when someone's name or an announcing of something is repetitive, when it's mentioned twice, the rabbinical understanding, and I happen to agree with this, is that it is a decree that comes from the throne. So Noach, Noach is a decree. You would maybe go to the story of Shemuel or Samuel. And I heard the story as a child. Samuel, Samuel. And he would get up and run from his bed to Eli, the high priest. I'm here, you called me. Go back to bed, son. I didn't call you. And it was finally perceived after the 3rd time that it was the voice of Yahweh who was calling this young man. And what he shared with him was decreed at the throne, and he gave him that information. So when Yah speaks one's name twice, as you study through the scriptures, take note of that and begin to look, what is it that is being decreed from the throne? Yeshua would say, truly, truly, or verily, verily, the King James says. And then he would give us a throne level truth that would be declared to us. Something to keep in mind. So the fact that Noach was a righteous man, again, it wasn't by accident. He had a family lineage that aided him in that and taught him that. But it was also seen from the throne that he was such a righteous man. And as we shared yesterday, he was given chen, he was given grace, comfort to enable to walk, power to walk in a righteous life. Now, let's take this a little bit further over the next minute. We see in creation in Bereshit or Genesis chapter 1 that there is the heavenlies that are created above, and there is the earthly physical realm that is created below, and so that one is over top of the other. The waters that were common between the two have been divided, and now there's a division, waters above, waters below. What we walk in the physical realm should be reflective of that which is decreed about us in the heavenly realm. And so it would be seen that as his name is mentioned twice, Noach was not only righteous in the heavenlies, but he mirrored that heavenly righteousness here in the earth. Yah is calling you and I to a walk that is righteous in Yah's eyes and in the eyes of those that are around us. Spiritual realm, physical realm, righteous in both, and to be a tzaddik in both. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Shalom.